Hi, YouTube. I hope you're all doing good. I am. I'm taking a break from doing some laundry. My wash machine just shut off, and I don't want to put what I have in there in the dryer and still until I make my videos. So, just taking a break and thought I'd say hello. So, I don't know. I didn't really listen to a lot of like news programs or anything today. Earlier I listened to a little bit of music at Doug's request. He wanted to hear some Savage Garden, so I passed that around. We listened to a couple songs and then got busy. I'm going to listen to the rest of them later, maybe, depending on what the rest of the day brings. So, yeah, like I say, it's just break time. So, yeah, cheers, everybody. How do you feel about envisioning your future, like what you think that you can make it come true? How much do you believe in the power of thought? I watched Jason from Archaics, and oh, now I even forget the name of it. You know what? I'm going to look it up. You can go there if you want to see what he was talking about. But oh, the placebo effect. Durr. Okay, yeah. Um, the placebo dreamscape, how documented phenomenon reveals that, you can make a change and stuff. And I believe that's really true. There's a lot of times where I just was certain, or it looks like something's going one way in the world, but your determination and just being stubborn on that one thing can change what could have been the outcome into something else. And I believe that is true, you know. So, anyway, just like I usually do, thinking out loud here. Uh, there's been more evidence of that for me in my life. I mean, I can't control what another person does, but and people say, well, you can control how you react to it. Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I can kind of put things before them in their life that could like maybe aid them or envision something or will something to be. You know, I believe that's true with the help of God. I believe we all have that ability. So, I don't know. I did finish watching that it was a discussion between Dr. Jordan Peterson and Dr. Scott Jensen. And I respect those men, I really do. For a while, I wondered what type of integrity Scott Jensen, being an ex senator and not just a family practitioner, um, you know, who he was and like I'm gonna search for the perfect word. Give me a second. The fortitude or his ethics, you know, because they were put into question. A second a person is their ethics is put into question, then there leaves room for reasonable doubt on that person's integrity. And yeah, the Board of Health in the state of Minnesota really went after this man because he refused to do the things they wanted him to do because it went against who he was as a person. And see, that's the cool thing about people like him. He's I think he said he was 68 and has a very long history of taking care of people with no complaints, just right up until recently when he started standing up against the establishment. And that's the same for Jordan Peterson and a lot of other doctors and healthcare professionals and, whoever. I'm not really too concerned about the people in the public eye as far as politicians. They don't, as far as I'm concerned, fall into this category because they're being paid by the people. So they either work with their ethics or they don't. Because we can't file a malpractice lawsuit against a member of Congress. Well, you can in a sense, but good luck, if you complain. I mean, members of the Supreme Court were known, as far as I have heard. But the Epstein list, some of them are on that. And that's not being shown to the people. A lot of people want to see. We saw a partial list when this all started coming down, and even before people had the flight logs and stuff. But I'd like to see the thing in its entirety. I'm sure a lot of people would. So, for K. Constantine, Doug said he can read your emails or your messengers over on Facebook, but they've got him blocked from Messenger where he can't send anything back to you. So he can read when you write him. And he's thinking about making another Facebook page. If he does, I'll let you know what that is and if and when that happens. But yeah, he if you ask him a question, he can see what you say, but he can't answer you back. So, because a lot of times Doug will like to take and share things in Messenger, in groups to get things out to large quantities of people, and then they can contact him if they need to. And so that's why he hasn't gotten back to you, because he actually couldn't. He was a little bit frustrated about that. Last couple days, that's really been going on. They've got, he mentioned something about one of our ex-politicians that rhymes with Jubilee with an H. Or no, that's not a good one. Well, they call it Killary, with an H. So anyway, you know who I mean. I don't want to mention it either. I'm having them review what was dark comedy and satire on one of my videos that they tried to accuse me of going against their community standards. No, I didn't. Not at all. I was making jokes about somebody should poke themselves with their own needles. That wants to poke me. And it was a joke. And that's the way I approached the whole thing, like satire, and wasn't serious about it at all. So yeah, they are wrong, and they should leave my video alone. So I'll let you know how that works out and what it was. And we're thinking about getting another telephone number just to make other accounts. And if I have to do that, it's going to be something out of me that people haven't seen before, because I have more facets than you would realize. I'm just saying, I have plans that will foil their plans. They either leave me alone and let me have freedom of speech, or what I'm going to do next is really going to blow them out of the water. Totally blow them out of the water. So that's the way I feel about that. And I have plans to do that. We've already talked about making means to make other channels and other pages. So, yeah. And that's just possible, like even tonight, although I don't feel like doing it right now. I almost did this morning. I was going to show Doug how easy that was. It's like we can just do it like this, and still keep our phone number that we've had for over 30 years, I believe. So, yeah, just have another one too. Temporary, you know. But anyway, I do have plans if they want to try and shut me up. I will put a new spin on satire and mocking that they're just going to love and they won't be able to do anything about it. I will be worse than them. And that's what they're going to create out of me. And they're not going to like it because I am very smart. If I put my mind to doing something like that to them, well, actually, there's a lot of people I could reach just going in that direction, but not totally foolish or stupid or anything. But I have plans. You can always find me on Facebook, and if that were to happen, I would make another channel and go around to where people know me and tell them who I am and start all over. If that were the case, if it even went to that extreme, but I don't think it will. But yeah, they threatened me again, basically. I don't like the fact when somebody tells me what I have to do out on our planet to appease them, but it goes against what I feel. My who I am matters too to me. Who they are matters to me too, but I don't have that mutual respect. And that's where I draw the line, you know. And also, always when they involve the children because they are impressionable, they're crossing the line. That's the line they don't want me to talk about. They want to shut everybody up about that because they don't care what's going to happen to the next generation. They don't care about what happened to mine or yours or your children. They could care less. Excuse me. As long as they can get out of life what they want to get out of it. So, I think sometimes too, depending on, like I've always said, whichever master they serve, whoever is going to help them with their wishes, if they were to will something, you know. It's like a person sent around a meme that said it was a cleaning up their friends list. So it was like a test. And it said, if the God of this world is in total control, why is he so cruel? And somebody wrote underneath, the God of this world isn't the creator. And I just ignored that for the mere fact that there is no other God but one God. So that just nullifies that right there. As far as I'm concerned, that isn't even a comment worth answering. That goes in line with these people that think just because something's this way is that's the way it's going to remain, or you can't fight against it, or I don't believe that at all. So I wrote underneath it, maybe God's doing the same thing he was, cleaning out his friends list. It's like God's doing the same thing as you, cleaning out his friends list. So, and it is true. Yeah. But it is sad. It does make me sad that people would not realize who gives them everything they could ever want, but they don't realize that. That's where that energy, even if you get something and you think you got it from Satan, no, you didn't. There's nothing on this planet that anybody but God Almighty has control over. So if you're doing His will, and it's just like, and I go back to this, I think it was the Twilight Zone. In fact, I know it was. It's an episode called Slippery Shoes. I'll tell you it real quick. Some of you heard this and maybe you want to go watch it, but it's a man that's, he's a trinket dealer and, like he sells unique things out on the street. And this guy came and he got like a magical pen and he was able to write things and make things happen, or a pair of glasses, or that's what it was. It was a pair of scissors, and this guy, the little old man, said, "You need these." And the guy was like a con man in a dirt bag. He was just a creep, but he got stuck in the elevator and his tie got stuck in the doors, and he was able to take those scissors out and cut his tie and save his life. So he went back to the little old man like 2 or 3 times, and the little old man says, like, there's nothing you really need, there's nothing more I can do for you right now. You've got everything you need. And the guy went to attack the little old man, and the little old man left a pair of shoes on the side of the curb as he was running away, if I'm remembering right. And this con man put them shoes on. And then he went to still chasing that little old man, and his shoes slipped, and the con man got hit by a car. The moral of the story is that's what he needed that time, was slippery shoes. So that's why I like that episode. There's another one that I really, really like. I can't remember the name of it. It's with an actor called Burgess Meredith. And he loved to read. And he'd go home at night and he'd just try and have like relax and read his paper. And I don't know if he drank a beer or what he did. I can't remember all that part. But he just wanted to read. He wanted peace and quiet. So he actually was praying for just time to have peace and quiet without hearing his wife, like constant. So he went down in the vault of this bank that he worked in. I think it was a bank. And he was in there, and there was a commotion above. And he went up, and he was just enthralled. Well, nobody was around, there was nobody left. Everything was destroyed. He came, just about, he came upon this library and went in and got stacks and stacks of books. He was just thrilled to death. He was about ready to read all his books. He had like Coke bottle glasses and real thick, and they fell off his face and they shattered, and he couldn't read his books. That's all he wanted to do. That's a horrible story, isn't it? But I could really relate to that in a lot of ways. But what I would have done, since all the people were gone, is gone into like a pharmacy, and they have like magnifying glasses and like what do you call it, optometrist, ophthalmologist, go in and find something that would be similar to what I used to wear. There's no people. Go in and grab a prescription and Maybe even find a frame and try to fashion. Of course, I guess if you can't see, because when they fell off his face, he stepped on his own glasses. That's what it was. Yeah, what a bummer. All the books that you could even think of reading for the rest of your life, he was picking out just classics and different ones, and he just about cry when he grabbed this, adventure, because he never had the peace and quiet to be able to sit down and actually absorb himself in another world through reading, without being interrupted and that type of thing. So, yeah, that's a really good. If you look up Twilight Zone Burgess Meredith, you'll come up with that as I would recommend that. And Slippery Shoes for people. Like, watch those two if you want to be entertained. They're black and white, and there's nothing really, really fancy about it except for the storyline, and the moral of the story. you know, Careful what you wish for, yeah, and what you might need might be not too good for you, but it could work out maybe pretty good for somebody else, like them slippery shoes. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'll smoke another cigarette and get this uploaded, and got to get back to my laundry. So, have another quick one with you. Yeah, if you have time or are interested in listening to the one psychiatrist and the other, uh, well, if you actually hear the background on Dr. Scott Jensen, who he is, where he came from, and how he came to be ostracized by the political arena, and why. I love to see these doctors banding together. It's just, it's incredible. They're in jeopardy of losing their entire existence. I mean, as far as maybe they're not too concerned about making a day-to-day paycheck. I'm not sure how destitute either one of those are, but and I hope that they never will be, because they're not deserving of any kind of dirty treatment anymore on this planet than what they've already received, as far as I can tell. So, but anyway, it's that's the one I shared yesterday on my community about the bureaucracy, a word I have problems with. I might have even before my stroke. There's some words I say and have to think, could I say it before? Probably not. One of them things. I wonder how determined somebody like that dude from Pennsylvania, I forget his name, that had the stroke. I wonder how determined he is to make his mind whole again, and what measures he's taking to make that happen, and what force of nature or unnatural is going to be helping him do that. And if the political leaders that we have that are standing up there that appear to be well spoken but or not, um, look who they're led by. That doesn't always turn out so well for them. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes when people are hired for political positions and they can't even speak. They can't even do their jobs, you know? You can see when I first started my videos about, well, on Facebook it's like 7 years or 8 years ago. I do a few here and there. But on YouTube 6 5 6 years ago. my speech has gotten better because I've worked on it, and I recognize, well, okay, this is where I can do this or do that, or, form a word like this or that, and a lot of it's the forethought of having God in my heart. That's what I was talking to my youngest son, and one thing I recommended him this morning, not only to stay safe, but it was think ahead and stay safe, because if you're an impulsive personality and um, self-serving personality will lead to impulses too that people might have trouble controlling because they've never really had the responsibilities, or they've had physical and emotional setbacks that wouldn't give them the mindset of carrying those responsibilities, or mental or physical handicaps. There's people that just can't, like if you're handicapped and you cannot do a job, there's people with emotional handicaps that actually have problems. And it's not the one called lazy, it's actually people that have trouble functioning within the day because they emotionally or physically just cannot do that. Those people I pray for big time. The ones that are lazy and pretend they have things wrong when they don't, I won't have any mercy on them. If I were God, I wouldn't have one bit of problem ignoring them. That's what I would do. Or not. It's kind of like Jason from Archaics was talking how he was thinking about making a video just on his trolls. There's a lot of trolls that had spoke bad about him, and it ended up bringing some really good people to his channel that might not have ever gone there because of the people that were talking down about him. And then they discovered that, hey, he's a pretty cool dude. They were trying to call him an antichrist and everything. It's like, wow, you people really love to twist shit, don't you? You know? Thinking to myself, you can tell whether people have God in their heart or not, you know, because he doesn't use the terminology that's written in the scriptures like identical to how it's written. Well, that's because he's smarter than that and he knows language and he knows better. You know, you can tell people, amen, what it actually means, and being that it's used in a wedding or a funeral, indicating end of man, and you can tell them that supporting the end of any prayer you do by hailing Satan through Amun Ra. You can tell them all the truths about language and what's actually real, that you're patronizing an Egyptian god of the dead, but people don't always want to listen to what you have to say. Sometimes they actually have to uh, live through downfalls themselves and go through some really rough times. They might have it high right now, but eventually what they have now is going to catch up to them and they're going to pay for it one way or another. So, and that's looking ahead. That I know to be a fact. So, another thing Jason said real quick that I believe too, that I was before and I will be again and I am now, that he has thoughts of the past and thoughts of the future. And I know we've been shown the things in the future. So, or we're already there and we're just visiting hell to help some people that are struggling. Maybe that's the case too. Some of these things are a little unclear, can't prove anything, but Hey, if you all have thoughts on that, speak up. Don't be shy. Who cares what anybody thinks? And that's the thing with these things with their political pushes. Like I said, if it doesn't involve the children, but unfortunately it does, you know, and they're making sure it does. And if it didn't, I don't care what anybody does or said. Could care less, you know. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.